On October 18th, 2025, something truly remarkable happened across the United States. A single, really powerful message echoed from coast to coast, and it united millions of people in one of the biggest coordinated demonstrations in the nation's entire history. To really get a sense of the scale here, we've got to start with a few key numbers. It all begins with this number, 7 million. I mean, that figure is so huge, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. But this wasn't just some abstract statistic. This was a massive groundswell of people. 7 million of them. We're talking teachers who walked out of their classrooms, veterans who'd served the country, retirees, students, literally people from every single walk of life, all standing up on the exact same day.
And look, this was not just a big city thing. Not at all. This movement reached into every single corner of the country, spanning all 50
states. This made it a truly national event. Think about the level of coordination that takes. It was powered by grassroots organizers who were using everything from encrypted messaging apps to social media just to make sure that everyone from Miami to Anchorage was connected.
But the most astonishing part of all of this, all of it, the millions of people, the incredible coordination, the sheer scale, it was all synchronized to happen in just
a single day. The precision was just breathtaking. 7 million people spread across 50 states, all moving together as one. So that leads to the crucial question, right? How did this even happen? How does a movement of this size and scope just materialize, seemingly overnight? Well, to understand that, we have to look at the spark that lit this incredible fire. The No Kings movement definitely didn't just appear out of thin air. To find its roots, you have to look back, not just to the specific political tensions that were simmering all through 2025, but actually way back to the founding of the country. The slogan itself is absolutely key here. No king. That isn't a new phrase. It is a direct callback to the American Revolution. It was powerfully revived to challenge modern presidential power and to make a very clear point. In a democracy, the people are sovereign. And this timeline here really shows how things escalated. You see, throughout early 2025, this frustration was brewing as critics accused the administration of centralizing power and publicly challenging the independence of the courts. That tension finally sparked the first protest in June. You can think of it as a kind of dress rehearsal. But it was the buildup over the next few months that turned this into the historic nationwide event on October 18th. Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about the day itself. Let's look at how this grew into something that was more than just a protest. You see, the organizers were very intentional about framing it as a nationwide celebration of citizenship. And when you look at the details, you can see exactly what they meant. This was not a protest fueled by rage. It was fueled by creativity and a real sense of civic duty. I mean, you had people in dinosaur costumes to symbolize the potential extinction of democracy, and others in unicorn costumes to represent hope. The signs were clever, the music was joyful, and, this is really crucial, there was a huge emphasis on nonviolence and de-escalation training, which helped ensure the day remained overwhelmingly peaceful. And political figures definitely took notice. Down in Atlanta, Senator Raphael Warnock just captured the essence of the whole movement with this quote. He framed it perfectly, not as some partisan struggle, but as a fundamental reassertion of citizen power. But the real power, the real voice of this day, came from individuals like Peggy Cole, a 70-year-old retiree who drove 10 hours just to be there. Her words get right to the very heart of why so many people felt they had to act. It was this deep-seated fear that if they did nothing, they could lose democracy itself. So, with millions of people on the streets across the entire country, how did the White House respond? Well, the answer didn't come from a press conference. It came through a really provocative and purely digital counterattack. This right here captures the clash of narratives just perfectly. On one side, you have protesters with signs focused on the Constitution. And in response, President Trump posted an AI-generated video of himself wearing a golden crown. He directly embraced the exact monarchical imagery they were rejecting. And when he was asked about it directly by reporters, President Trump was defiant. He dismissed the king label, not by rejecting the idea of that kind of power, but by framing it as something he'd earned through his work ethic. It was a classic move, turning an accusation into a personal testament of strength for his supporters. So, with these two starkly different visions of America on full display, what's the lasting impact of all this?
Was this a genuine turning point for the country's democracy? Well, experts like Dr. Elaine Mendoza argue that this protest was about something much bigger than just one person. She says it became a national referendum on a really fundamental question. Where do we draw the line between leadership and liberty? And ultimately, the core message coming from the streets was one of collective strength. I think this quote from a speaker in Philadelphia just perfectly sums up the movement's entire philosophy, that the true power of the nation isn't held by one person, but by the combined voices of its citizens.
And that leaves us with a final, powerful thought. The No Kings protest served as this massive, nationwide reminder of a founding principle of the country, that in the United States of America, the